firstly, congratulations that you know finally cleared CLAT 2020 with a great rank. So how are you feeling?
Thank you. Hopefully good till now, excited for college.
And okay, one thing that you would want to actually tell students that was your biggest takeaway from CLAT 2020, considering it was a year where you had to keep shifting your preparation with each postponement of exam. There was another level of stress that came through.
Definitely.
So one thing,
You have you have to be consistent. Like what happens now doesn't matter 5 years down the lane. Like 5 years down the lane, you want to imagine yourself from a good LLU. So keeping that in mind, like it definitely gives you a lot of motivation and keep working hard. That's it. And it is very unpredictable. Just don't trust CLAT with its pattern and with its pattern change. Everything is new in it every time.
and so how did you prepare for your GK?
GK to begin with, I was really bad at GK, and then I had my board, so I found an excuse that I don't want to do GK for another 2 months. To start with, I love reading newspapers, so I used to read newspapers. It kind of helped me, and then definitely Newscanvass really boosted my preparation because I found consolidated information at one place. Like this is the base, this is the foundation that is something that I have to finish. And the way you made your notes, they were quite attractive. Like I am a person who makes a lot of notes, but when I saw your notes, I just could go through them on the computer and didn't have to waste my time or put in another effort to elaborate the thing. Then I did month-ends. Month-ends, the good thing is that they have weekly month-ends and they have monthly month-ends. So in weekly month-ends, you sometimes see that a topic is covered in say 2 weeks or 3 weeks consistently. So it makes you realize that this is very important and you have to do this thoroughly. And then CLAT, the unique thing is, for example, we had that banana taped question in one of those sample papers.
Yeah.
So what they is they took one very extracting, very random thing, and they asked a lot of things surrounding art and culture from it, which were quite unrelated to the very basic information or the very basic news piece. So Manthan helped because it covers a lot of one-liners. So there is a myth, I don't know why people believe that one-liners don't hold any relevance or Manthan does not hold any relevance now, but it quite does. Let it be to, like, there's small questions, one or two here or there hidden in Manthan, which definitely gives you an edge. And keeping in mind that GK and math were the two main sections where one could really score, because the other three sections are quite based on practice, and moreover, they really don't affect your scores that much if you're comfortable with those three sections. Then also I used to do this thing, one of my friends suggested, is whenever you read something really good, say in Indian Express or the Hindu, an article you really like, I used to cut a clipping of it and paste it in notes book. So I used to underline on it. So it just made my notes attractive, because whenever, if there's monotony in notes, you're only writing and writing. So it becomes very tedious when you revise. So news clipping helps. Then I really love drawing. So whenever, say, there's Israel-Palestine issue going on, or is there some Syria conflict going on, so I used to draw the countries and, just to help me with the geography of it.
Yeah.
And whenever I used to study related to any countries, any piece of news, I always used to access the world map just to cover the geopolitical issues around it and give a better clarity. Like especially in the Middle East, where so many countries are involved, accessing world map really helps, and it creates an image in the mind.
And okay, and when it comes to the number of events, right? So you've CLAT being asking you 7 events ultimately out of so many events that kind of study. So was there a list that you kind of followed and said, okay, this is the list of events that you would want to focus on, study on, or how did you go about doing that?
I stuck to the news canvas list and then some very important news clippings that were there in the newspaper. So I had this habit that I would have some random 10-15 pages after every, say, 3-4 events, where I would just pen down things that I felt were important but did not need to be covered in much depth, and just to give a break to the monotony. So I did that, but this time I was very lucky that all the topics came that we had covered in depth, especially Newscanvass, and they were pretty much in news, like Atmanirbhar, NEP. This is something that every person knows right now.
Right.
And the newspaper clippings helped me because I am a person who cannot do rote learning. I need to understand the contextual importance of every event that goes on.
Hmm.
So luckily, it helped me in this year's GK section because it was more or less based on general understanding and general awareness. So that was a plus point.
And what was finally your GK score?
I did not calculate. I literally did not. After seeing 95, I was like, okay, I'm not going to top three. I just don't want to look at my response sheet for blunder I've done. But turns out that everyone didn't really score well this time.
Correct.
So it overall negated.
Yeah, yeah. But then absolutely. But then anything about 20 in GK this year was like very, very good score, considering the way the paper was. So yeah. And how did you? So did you kind of follow a study schedule, for GK, and how did you keep yourself motivated when it came to the preparation every time the exam was kind of getting postponed?
So in mocks, I did not really score well in GK. So there were hardly 2-3 mocks. I could reach the 90 percentile. That definitely motivated me that you really need to focus on GK or there's nothing for you in CLAT.
Right.
So again, that helped me. And moreover, I made a schedule. So in the past 2 months, I prepared a schedule, say for the next 1 week I'm going to focus on May. For the next 1 week I'm going to focus on June, and then you gave us those schedule that every day 15 events. So I used to cover that and then revise from whatever the notes I have made or whatever things I want to cover.
Correct, correct. Perfect. So one thing that you would like to, tell the aspirants of 2021 what they should be doing with LAD.
And read your newspapers, study from Newscanvass, study each and every line because you don't know what will come in the exam, and stay motivated. That's it. Because I really don't know what paper will come next year. They might stick to their sample paper schedule or they might stick to the new
Right.
pattern. So just read a lot because that is definitely going to help you. Like the
And
Israel question, the
mm,
Israel constitution question, that was like out of the box. How am I going to know what was there in the Israeli constitution? That was vague.
and okay, and in 2 lines, how did News Canvas essentially help you with your preparation in GK?
It really motivated me because studying GK, referring to various websites, making notes is a very elaborate process. So to begin with, you have that in mind that you need to go through such a long process. You start feeling like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. You start procrastinating it. Whereas in News Canvas, they provide you very conceptualized notes in a very organized manner. So it gives you concept clarity, and then especially the additional notes, the quizzes, they really help you to revise a lot of things. And then the weekly discussions, those PPT sessions, they were really good, and you give a lot of revision material. So we had daily updates and event analyzed, and the very same things were covered in the compendium as well, just to give all the things consolidated, just to ease our process of GK. And then you even updated those monthly compilations. Then we had the monthly tests as well, where all the questions were, all the questions from the events were there. So whenever it comes to last movement revision, because that is very crucial in GK, there's a bulk of information and you need to retain a lot of it. So revision is the key. So those questions especially helped to cover the entire, sort of give a revision of the entire event, and help you do the last minute revision. Also, the schedule that ma'am gives us is pretty amazing for a person who is not very organized and who waits till the very last moment to work. I was really benefited from that plan because it categorized and it reduced, say, 200 events into 10 per day. So it gives you a very good concept clarity. And the thing is, when I used to do GK in the very beginning and I wasn't a News Canvas student, I used to say, okay, 2 days I'm going to devote it to GK. So what happened is when you do a lot of things together, you tend to mess up. But daily doing that thing based on the schedule, it really helped. And GK, the thing is that everything feels important. Everything under the sun you feel is important. But what you just gave us to streamline process to focus on these core topics, and that really helped, to refine out the excess and the unrequired material. So it definitely helped me cheat. Otherwise I won't have achieved this rank.
Thank you so much, Radhika, and we wish you all the very best for your new beginning. We hope you have a great, great, great career ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and it's because of your news canvas that I could do my cheating.
All the very best.
Thank you, ma'am.